Hey guys, so thank you for checking out my channel. Today I want to go over my top 5 tips for losing weight. So a little backstory on me. I used to weigh upwards of about 315 pounds. I was able to lose 140 pounds in about a year and a half. So a lot of people reach out to me for weight loss tips and advice. And what I've noticed over the years of doing this and receiving these types of questions is that certain things always seem to work their way into the conversation. So when I look back on my weight loss journey, I kind of picked out these top 5 things that I kind of look at as being like huge focal points in the reason why I was able to have the success that I did. Before I get into these 5 tips, I just want to kind of put a disclaimer out there that I'm not trying to sell you anything in this video. There's no magical product that I'm going to try to push and tell you that it can help you lose weight. These are just my top 5 tips that I feel helped me, and hopefully if you're in a position like I was where I just didn't know which direction to go or where to even start, hopefully they can help you out as well. Tip number 1, and it's where I always start out with people, is you have to understand your calories in versus your calories out. Now I know that that sounds super basic and straightforward, but if you're like me, when I started out being so nutritionally ignorant, I had no idea that just being an individual, and everybody is different, but that you burn a certain amount of calories a day just living, not working out, not doing anything. Your body burns a certain amount of calories just to get you through the day. And if you take in more calories in the form of food over the course of that day and continue to do that for multiple days at a time, then your body will take those extra calories and store them as energy. In my case, fat. So the way I did this was I downloaded a calorie tracker, which I always suggest people to use MyFitnessPal because it's got a really large database as far as like restaurants that you could possibly go to, or foods that are already preloaded in there. And from what I found, it's pretty accurate. So if you open up MyFitnessPal, it's free to create an account. I've never, even all the years I've been using it, I've never upgraded to the pro level. But if you're able to go in there and let's say you went out to a restaurant, like a chain restaurant, and typed in their name, a lot of their menu items are already preloaded with the correct calorie and macronutrient breakdown in there. So that's what I was able to download, and that's how I track my calories every single day. When you put your information in, it gives you a range. It's not perfect, but it gives you an idea of how many calories you'll have to stay under to lose a pound a week or 2 pounds a week, for how much you weigh and how tall you are and how active you are. If you're like me, who weighed 315 pounds and needed to lose 140, I could still take in a significant amount of calories and still be able to lose weight. So when I was losing weight, I usually, just starting out, I didn't do anything too extreme or try to cut it down too quickly. I started out with eating like 1,800, 1,900 calories a day, because it takes a lot of calories for a body to maintain 315 pounds. And before I started all of this, I wasn't active, I wasn't going to the gym, nothing like that. If you're gonna do this, you have to be accountable to yourself. You've gotta make sure that you are tracking the accurate amount of calories that you're eating. A lot of people won't track maybe the sauces that they put on their food, or all the creamer that they put in their coffee, or they feel like they want, they can even cheat themselves and start, they'll snack on things as they pass, maybe at the office or on the way to work or something, and they won't track that. And over the course of the day or even the course of a week, that can add up to a significant amount of calories. So a lot of the people that I talk to, they think that they're eating under 2,000 or right at 2,000 calories a day, and they don't understand why they're overweight. When they actually start tracking every single thing that they eat on a daily basis, turns out they're eating upwards of 3,000 calories a day or more, and they have no concept of what they're actually taking in. So at the very least, something like MyFitnessPal, or a calorie tracker can kind of open your eyes to, you know, what you're actually doing and where the problem might lie. Okay, so tip number 2 is don't do too much too soon. I always tried to lose weight for years, and I would always get super motivated, and I would go out and buy a bunch of the stereotypical healthy foods, and I would set, you know, my diet's going to start on Monday, and I'm only going to eat these foods, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I'm just going to force myself to do it, and I'm going to lose weight. And that would last for about 3 to 4 days until I was just completely burnt out and couldn't take it anymore, and then I would just fall back into bad habits and just being discouraged. When you start tracking your calories and you start understanding, like, I need to stay under X amount of calories a day, and this is what I'm going to do every single day of the week. What I suggest people to do is don't eat the foods that are stereotypical healthy diet foods. Eat foods that you like, eat foods that you enjoy, but just make sure you stay under that calorie count. And they can be any types of food. For me, when I started all of this, I was working in an office, so I always had to pack my lunches every day, and I didn't cook anything. So I was a college student. I absolutely could not stand to cook. I didn't have time. So I would just go to the grocery store and I would buy like frozen pizzas or something that I could heat up out of a bag or something like that. So when I started losing weight, I would eat frozen pizzas for dinner, and they were not like diet frozen pizzas. They weren't any kind of branding that are supposed to be healthier. They were your stereotypical bad for you frozen pizzas. I would make sure that I stayed under my calorie count for the day, and over time that just really started to add up, and I was able to lose my first 35 pounds eating like this. So my daily intake I might eat a lunch, like, you know, a sandwich and chips or something at the house that was easily trackable, and then for dinner, when I had those pizzas in my office, my Fitness Pal allows you to scan the barcode on the back of the box. There's 2 servings in the box, I still remember, and there was 800 calories in the pizza. I have no idea what the macro breakdown was, but just being able to scan it and understand that, like, hey, my dinner's 800 calories, and the rest of the day is, you know, I've got the rest of the day to get my other like 1,000 calories in, really helped me stay on track. I was content, but I was just making sure I hit those numbers. What I see people do when they reach out to me and ask for help is that they want to go to the store and they want to buy the spinach and the broccoli and the kale, and they're gonna try juicing and all this other stuff, and I'm like, do you like any of that stuff? And they're like, absolutely not. I've never eaten it before in my life. So that's exactly how I was, so I understand, but I feel it's just setting you up for failure. If you have that type of discipline that you can do that, or maybe you like some of those foods, absolutely work them into your diet. But I was like worst case scenario, so there was no working any vegetables or fruits into my diets. Like, that wasn't going to happen. So the first 35 pounds really helped me just get the ball rolling, and once I was able to see that kind of progress in a fairly short amount of time, that helped me then take it from there and go, okay, well, maybe I don't have to eat these frozen pizzas every night for dinner. Maybe I can eat something else, and maybe it was a little bit better of an option. And then I just slowly but surely kind of tweaked my diet as I went to make it better and better and better. And I still do that today. So I think it's a huge momentum builder for people to get started, especially if you are somebody like me who has a terrible diet and has always had a terrible diet. Okay, so tip number 3 is going to be establish a workout plan that is going to work for you and your lifestyle. And that workout can be anything you want it to be. You can start out, it doesn't matter where you're at in the process. You just need to establish when in your day, in your day-to-day life, you are going to get this workout in, how long it's going to be, what it's going to be, whether it's going to be something like high intensity, walking around the neighborhood, running on a treadmill, etc. And how well does this fit in to my daily schedule? For me, at the time when I started all this and I was trying to figure it out, I worked in an office in like a downtown area. I was able to find a gym membership that was right across the street from my office, and I worked in the evening. So I worked from like mid-afternoon till late at night. And I was a college student at the time, so I went to class all morning. So I understood that there was no chance of me being able to consistently get a good workout in the morning, and then I was at work in the evening. However, I got an hour lunch break every night at work. So what I would do is I would walk across the street to this gym on my lunch break, and I would run on the treadmill for 30 minutes, and that would give me enough time to get my workout in, get a shower, and then get back to the office. My workout starting out was nothing spectacular. So I was extremely overweight, wasn't able to do a whole lot. So what I did was I started on the treadmill at a pace that just kind of got my heart rate elevated and got me kind of breathing heavy. And I would run for 2 minutes, and then I would cut the speed down and walk for 2 minutes to kind of catch my breath and have a rest period. And I would do those 2-minute intervals for a full 30 minutes. And as I was able to lose more and more weight and I got better at the workout, I would then up the speed on both the running sections and the walking sections to kind of just like push my heart rate even more and not let me just get complacent and comfortable at a speed that I had, gotten good at. So if you have that luxury of being able to absolutely, I have no problem making an hour CrossFit class 5 days a week, that's awesome. And if that's the athletic ability that you're starting this out at, then absolutely I would capitalize on that. But don't get discouraged if you're not at that point. Maybe you're just at the point where I have time right now to walk my dogs a mile every morning before I go to work, or every afternoon when I get home from work. That's fine. Start there and then build onto that. I get a lot of kickback for the whole treadmill thing. And the reason why I like the treadmill, and it wasn't a nice treadmill, it was absolutely junk. I found that when I went out for a run or a jog, I would just find a pace that I was comfortable with, and that's what I would do. And I hate to run, there's no part of it that I enjoy, but if I was on the treadmill and I set the speed to, let's say 7 or something, and it was a pace that was really, it was challenging for me. If I set it to that 7, I knew that I would have to keep up with it. My heart rate would be raised, and it was pushing me. And then I could dial it back down to a 3 or a 4 on my my break set. Okay, so tip number 4 for me is implement or consider intermittent fasting. This is something that I did not find until I lost about 75 pounds. But I really wish that I would have found it earlier in my process, because I just think that it's extremely beneficial. I still use it on a daily basis. There's never a day of the year that I'm not intermittent fasting. But when I implemented it after I had lost my first 70 pounds, I started to feel a whole lot better. It was easier for me to create meals to work around it. It made me approach the nutritional side of things and my eating schedule completely different, and it's just something that I think really benefited me. And the numbers really, I started really losing a lot of weight after I started being able to successfully implement intermittent fasting on a daily basis. If you're not familiar with intermittent fasting, what it is that you fast for 16 hours a day, so you don't take in any calories at all. You can have like black coffee and water and things of that nature, but you don't take in any food for those 16 hours a day. And then you have 8-hour window in that day that you can take in all of your calories. Why this was so beneficial for me was that I like to eat big meals. I don't like 8 small meals a day to lose weight. That doesn't do anything for me. So for me, eating is like a psychological thing, and I want to be able to eat just a lot of food at once. I can't say enough good things about intermittent fasting, and like I said, even today when I'm not trying to lose weight anymore, no matter what my nutritional goals are, I always make sure that intermittent fasting is something that I'm doing every day. Okay, so tip number 5 and the last tip is going to be set realistic goals for yourself. Okay, so what the phrase that I always like to think about that I still enjoy to this day when I'm approaching a problem is to keep your world small. Okay, so it always overwhelmed me when I was trying to lose weight, that I understood that I needed to lose so much weight. You know, it's one thing to say you need to lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds or something, and that might take a little bit longer because you might be a leaner person and you're trying to really, you're getting into the fine details now. But when you're behind the 8 ball and you need to lose 140 pounds, I would just get so overwhelmed and just, I can remember just sitting and thinking, how in the world am I going to get all of this off of me? Like, there's just no chance. Well, what I did when I started, when all of these other kind of pieces fell into place, I would just set little goals for myself in the form of smaller weight loss amounts. I had never seen myself, I couldn't remember the last time I saw myself under 290 pounds. So when I played sports and stuff, when I was in high school and I was younger, I could remember weighing in at like 290 pounds, maybe at the end of the season, or 295, something like that. But I never could remember myself being at a lower, like I just couldn't wrap my head around when I was at that lower weight of under 290. So what I did when I started to finally see results, I said, I'm going to give myself some kind of reward when I get to that 289 mark. So I was going on a trip at the time, and I told myself if I could get under 289 pounds before I went on this trip, I would allow myself to have a soft drink on this trip. It was an extremely small, reward, but it still gave me something to kind of chase. And I knew that if I was able to achieve that, then when I was, having that soft drink or cheat meal or whatever it was along the way, I knew that I would feel like, I accomplished something. I set a goal. It's not the long-term goal, but it's a short-term goal, and I accomplished it. So now I'm getting my reward. And then once I always noticed, and when I set those small short-term goals, it's nice when you're enjoying your trophy, but once that gets over, you're like, okay, I want to go on to the next one. 289 is great, but I want to see what am I gonna enjoy or have at 279, and so on. So those are my top 5 tips for losing weight. Those are 5 things that always seem to work their way into the conversation when people reach out to me and ask questions. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, but it just seems like it's really hard to fit all of those 5 things in depth into like a passing conversation. So I'm glad I finally got the chance to kind of document it so other people can reference it. If you are a person that is currently struggling with weight loss, or you might have reached a block and you can't get past it and have a question, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to address it in a future video. Chances are, if you're having an issue losing weight, it's probably an issue that I had to work around or get through, and other people are probably having it as well. Also, if this is content that you find enjoyable or beneficial, please like and subscribe below. And like I said, I'm going to try to make more videos kind of going over this area of things. So I really appreciate you checking out my channel. Hopefully the information that I disclosed in this video you can use in your favor and you found it beneficial, and I will see you guys in the next one.